Well, hey crafty friends, it's Hiedi Scott with DIY Dreaming, and on this video I have two really cool things to show you while we finish up this Lighthouse of Truth t-shirt, and they both involve the sleeves. So I think both of these things are gonna be really useful, especially if you like to make t-shirts for yourself or for family or for friends or maybe for sale. As you're hopping on, say hello, let me know where you're watching from, feel free to sprinkle, all that good stuff. All right, let's jump right in. If you've been watching DIY Dreaming, then you know that I love to make t-shirts. This is one of my favorites. It says bless your heart, and it has this really cute design on the sleeves that is called filigree leaf. I don't believe this design is available anymore, but Magnolia does have lots of other designs still available. So I'm going to talk to you about the sleeves, and then I'm going to talk to you about the thing that bugs me about the sleeves. All right, here's another example of a t-shirt that is, these are True Colors brand from Hobby Lobby. This says Made to Worship, and it has, you might notice the difference in this sleeve. The inside of the sleeve is stenciled, and when you roll the cuff up, you see the design on the cuff rather than on the whole sleeve. And then this one right here says life is better when you're laughing. This is a cute design also. This one is like this t-shirt I have on now. The design is on the outside of the sleeve, and then when you roll the cuff up, you see the solid cuff. Okay, and this is called Roses, all over roses or all over peonies or something like that. I'm not sure if this all over pattern is available right now either, but there are lots. Magnolia has lots of different all over pattern stencils. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to match, or really not match, the front to the back. We're going to do that on this t-shirt. We're going to do that last because I'm going to show you how to fix the thing that bugs me the most about rolling the t-shirt sleeves up on this kind of a t-shirt. What bothers me is how they constantly want to unroll, and it's uncomfortable, okay? They're just constantly wanting to roll down. So I took a chance with this t-shirt several months ago, and I glued my cuff up. And it's been washed and worn several times since I did that, and now my cuffs do not roll down anymore. So it is perfectly comfortable to wear. So that's what I'm going to do later this afternoon, is I'm going to permanently glue the cuffs on these two t-shirts rolled up, and I'm going to show you how to do that on this one, and we're going to do that first. Okay, so on this t-shirt right here that I was working on just this week, I did this adorable Lighthouse of Truth stencil in the front, and then I used this seashells pattern stencil on the sleeves. And on this side, I have already done the front and the back, and I have heat set them. But on this side, I'm going to show you how to permanently roll that cuff up with some hot glue. And then when we're done with that, because it would be awkward to do this side first, I'll show you how to do the back of a t-shirt with a stencil, okay? So the first thing you want to do, let me plug in my iron. Is I'm going to take some parchment paper, and I personally, maybe it's my age, I don't know. I personally like it when my t-shirt sleeves have a press at a little point right here at the shoulder. That's just how I like them. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. But both sides of this have been heat set already by putting some parchment paper on them, taking my iron, no steam, set on cotton, and I just went over the front and the back for 2 or 3 minutes. You could even turn it inside out if you want. I hope you guys are liking this information, because this is going to make your t-shirts so much more comfortable to wear. And they wash and wear and wash and wear just fine after you do this. So after I've heat set both sides and I have my little point on that shoulder, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start rolling a cuff. And you can do that as wide or as narrow as what you prefer. Okay, and I'm going to use parchment paper each time to protect my iron. So I have 1 cuff rolled. I'm just going to iron that to get it to lay down nicely. Let's do both sides. Now the one thing that you cannot do really, once you have your cuff glued, is you really can't iron that specific spot again. So I'm gonna roll and iron 2 times, and then I'll unroll and I will glue, and then I'll roll again and glue. And I'm sorry, I don't know if I'm making this way more complicated than what it needs to be, because it really doesn't need to be complicated, but I want to show you all the steps. And I was kind of worried when I did this t-shirt initially, whoops, that it wouldn't wash well, but it is just fine. And it's been in the dryer and everything. So, okay, which side was I ironing? Let's iron this side too. And you have to kind of stretch your sleeve out a little bit. To get that cut to lay down flat. Okay, so here's my t-shirt, and it has 2 rolls. Whoops, let me get that fixed. That little buckle. Okay, and I'm going to move my iron, and I'm going to show you how to do the hot glue and talk about that. Unplug my iron so I don't get burned. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to unroll to that first cuff. And I am using my Surebonder Cool Shot low temperature hot gluing device, and I am using fabric glue, which is something that you can get. Usually I'll pick this up at Hobby Lobby. It's a little bit more expensive, this kind of glue for fabric, than regular hot glue. But if your garment is going to be washed and dried, then you need to use hot glue that's designed for fabric. So I'm going to put a generous amount on the first roll, just like in little dots, and push my t-shirt into that. If you hear something in the background here, it's my dog Mia, and she's snoring. It is stormy where I live in Georgia, and she is very afraid of storms, so she's my little glue buddy today. Okay, I'm going to add just a teeny bit more hot glue, just to make sure that I have that cuff down good. And this is all to make the t-shirt more comfortable. So hopefully this all makes sense. What do you guys think? Do this or this? if this is making sense. Okay, so I have one roll. Let's do the second roll. Get that laid out nice and neat. And then I'm not going to do quite as much hot glue on this roll as I did with the first one, because it is mostly going to just stay at this point, because it's got the inside layer of the roll glued very securely. And I don't know if this is something that you all have. Oh, thank you, Paula. She says always the prettiest shirts. I'm not sure if gluing your cuffs up is something that you've thought about doing, or that you knew that you could even do and then still wash the t-shirt. But it is. Okay, and at the top here, I need to get another glue stick. I want to make sure that that is nice and secure. So this t-shirt came from Hobby Lobby. It is Comfort Colors brand. Let's do just a little bit more glue here. The stencils that I have used for all of these are from magnoliadiy.com. I almost always use white ink because that's the style that I prefer, but you could do any color that you want. And then the hot glue that I'm using, whoops, is Sherbonder brand, low temperature, and it's specific for fabric. And it's not wanting to stay in there. Okay, I'm just checking all the way around. I need a little bit underneath the arm. Okay, and there we go. I have a permanent cuff on this t-shirt that is washable, dryable, and wearable. And the only thing I don't want to do is put a hot iron right over the top of this cuff, because I feel like it will make the hot glue get soft and gooey and get all over everything. But what do you guys think? Isn't that cool? And I tell you what, these are so much more comfortable when that cuff is glued up. Now let me show you next how I do the back of a sleeve. This is the other side of this t-shirt that has the front stenciled, and it has been heat set. And I'm just gonna lay down the other side. I'm going to get a piece of paper towel to put inside my sleeve, which is probably really not that necessary. I didn't do it on the other ones, but I'll just show you. Okay, and I'm using tape just to tape off this very end of this, because you don't need the stencil on that part. It is going to be folded and glued down so it will disappear. Okay, so first thing, how do I match the front up to the back exactly? The answer is I do not. It doesn't seem to matter, because unless you were looking at me from above, you see either the front or the back. And on this one, you know, I'm learning as I'm going along. You can see that I got a big glob of ink. This one also has a big glob of ink right on that at the press, but it does not matter. It still looks great, I think. So I am just going to take my stencil and figure out, let me just remind myself, which way did I do the seashells? I did them pointing up. Okay. At this point, I've used this stencil, which came in Craft Club for July 2025, but you can purchase it separately. I've done several projects with it already. I did this adorable bag, which was the Craft Club project. I'm working on this book project. I did a tea towel, and I've done 3 sleeve sides, and I will continue to use this stencil all this summer, next summer, the summer after. They get a little bit less sticky over time, but that doesn't seem to hurt your ability to use them. Does anyone have questions? Okay, so I'm just going to quickly apply my ink here. And then when it is fully dry, I will heat set it with a hot iron. And then I will do exactly the same gluing thing that I just showed you to glue this sleeve down as well. So I'm just going to concentrate on getting my stencil covered. And then I will stop going over and over and over it, because you don't want to go over it too much. When you do that, you end up pushing too much ink through the holes in your design. Okay, let me take a little peek. All right. Let me answer a question that I know somebody is thinking. See, that looks great. Not perfect, but perfection is not attainable in a homemade DIY kind of a project like stenciling t-shirts. And it's not necessary, and it will still be adorable. Okay, the question is, what if I get too much ink through the stencil and it squishes out a little bit like it did right here? That does not matter. Let me think. What other questions are you guys gonna be asking? What if I miss a little bit right here, right at the seam? That does not matter either. What if I want to use chalk paste instead of this ink from Magnolia, which is permanent? It's not going to work. The first time you wash it, you are going to have it get smudged all over everything. So chalk paste cannot be made permanent on fabric to the point where it will be washable, dryable, and wearable, no matter how much pressing you might do. It just can't. You have to use permanent ink. And let's see, I know I had another question. How long do you have to heat set? Well, you want to heat set for 2 or 3 minutes on each side, and you want to wait until each side is fully dry before you move on to do the back. So when the front was fully dry, then I heat set it, then I did the back. Can you use the same stencil without washing it in between on the front and back? I would say probably not. Not without getting smudges. And your stencils need to be washed promptly anyways. How do you wash them? I throw mine in a little tub of water like this until I can get out to the kitchen. And then I will spray it with cool water. Sometimes I will use my stencil cleaner sponge, which is white. You can get it from magnoliadiy.com, and a little dish soap if I need to get something off the front. Sometimes you'll get a few fibers that will stick in the sticky part of the stencil, and if you just use your fingers gently to kind of rub, you can sort of brush those off. The stencils do get slightly less sticky over time, but that doesn't affect how they work. And that's basically everything I can think of to tell you. So this is what I just did. Here's the front. I'm going to wait for it to be fully dry before I do anything, even touch it really. Then I will heat set it. Then I will fold it twice, fold the cuff up twice, and iron that really good. I'll unfold it, glue the first fold, front and back, then fold the second fold and glue that, front and back. And I really recommend this hot glue that is from Surebonder, that is designed for fabric and that is washable and dryable. And you're not going to burn your fingers on it unless you apply it directly to your skin. But it's a much safer way to do this kind of thing, and it's permanent on fabric, even fabric that is going to be washed. So there you go. That's everything I know. Do a this or a this. If you appreciate this information, if you decide to start using glue to basically permanently apply the cuffs on your t-shirts, I would love to know. If you're doing t-shirts with cute sleeves, I would love to know that too and see some pictures. I hope that you have a blessed and wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you again here on DIY Dreaming.